Welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Henson, and today you are in for such a special treat. I am bringing on my creative director. Her name is Illiah. She owns C&V Creative. And Illiah and I have been friends for a long time, and we just kind of always circle back and check in on each other. And gosh, about 6 months ago, I finally decided that I wanted to work with her more. And we've worked together on a couple projects over the years. She actually did my original podcast branding that I still use today, her and one of her amazing interns who is also a former student of mine. And I've absolutely loved everything that she has done for me. And I finally just decided that I wanted to collaborate with her more. She felt the same. And I guess it was around 6 months ago that I brought her on as our creative director. And I have not looked back. It has been such a fun experience. And I just adore working with her. She's one of those people that kind of sits quietly, right? But then when she finally has her turn to speak, you just want her to keep going. You want to hear more. She always provides such wisdom and kindness and value. And she's just a really, really cool human being to get to know. So I'm really excited to introduce you guys to her and to hear more about what she does. And being a creative director, we talk about the difference in just a general graphic designer versus a creative director and her journey. So welcome, Illiah. I am just so thrilled to have you on here. And I know that this will be the first of many fun ways that we get to work together and introduce you to everyone. All right, Illiah, I feel like this episode is so overdue, and I just can't wait to have you meet everyone. So I have already told them a little bit about you and how you're my lovely creative director on demand, but I want you to kind of introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do.
Oh, hi. Okay. I'm happy to. Hi, everyone. I'm Illiah, and I am a creative director for small business owners, mostly service providers, but I also work with product businesses. And um, I am super excited to be here and answer all your questions about creative director on demand.
I love it. So, I think I've heard your story, but it's been a while. Tell us
Yeah,
like how you ended up doing, graphic design.
sure. I love this story so much. And I work every day to make sure that my girls are empowered to use their voice and their talents, their natural talents, and develop those. Because my dad um, always wanted to be a doctor. He always wanted to be a doctor, and he couldn't because his dad was a lawyer. So my dad became a lawyer.
Mm,
And he unfortunately projected that onto me just like his dad did. Parenting is so messy.
yes.
Um, So I don't have any resentment or feelings about it, but in high school, I studied all science. All of the science classes from bioethics to bio to AP bio to physics, you name it, right? And fortunately, I had one single art class in high school. I took it my senior year, and that one class turned my entire life from black and white to rainbow.
Oh my
I started to see everything in color, and so, funny story, I went to my dad and was like, "Dad, I want to be an artist." Full well knowing that, artists have this stereotype of, starving and not being successful in any means. You learn about Van Gogh, and he didn't become famous until well after he passed, right?
God. Right.
So he was like, "Okay, fine, but you're taking a college course this summer, and you have to figure out a way to make money." And I did. I walked to my guidance counselor. I said to her, my dad says I can be an artist, but I have to find a way to make money. She opened up like this really thick book, full of different careers and said, graphic designer. And I was like, okay, that works for me.
Yeah.
And this is my senior year of high school when everybody thinks they know what they want to do, where they're going to school, and they're all prepared. They're all in journalist school or accepted in journalist school, or they are accepted in the science part. And I was like, I guess I'm going to go to art school.
Oh my gosh. And did you end up going to college for art?
I did. I studied graphic design. I just studied photography, and I minored in art history.
Yeah.
Once I got there, everything was just my whole life became what it is: vibrant, exciting. In college classes, we would be instructed to draw repetitive lines, parallel, thick, show contrast, show balance, and it was the most boring thing ever.
Mm.
But I was there with my ink pens, the fancy $1,000 pens, and living my best life.
Oh my gosh. Like, we're around the same age too, and I also studied graphic design in college, and it's like we were that weird generation of, like,
Mhm.
digital was kind of still new, like, Dreamweaver was a thing,
Yeah,
um, but we still would sketch our logos by hand with a thumbnail? What do you call that?
a thumbnail. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I believe firmly that it's still best practice
Yeah.
to start by pencil, but maybe that's my age.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sketch on anything as long as you sketch. To all you graphic designers listening, sketch first, computers last, right?
I love that you still value that.
I do, and if I'm mentoring designers, I always promote it.
Yeah. Well, and you really are it shows through in your brand and through your work that, you're not just a graphic designer that, like, fell into it, like, you're
Mhm.
an artist first. And I really do believe that shows through. And I had a very similar, like, do I wanna major in photography or graphic design? And my heart wanted photography, but everybody was like, "If you wanna make money, you gotta do design," right? So I ended up majoring
Yeah,
in graphic design and then just ended up becoming a photographer because that's the heart wants what it wants.
yeah, yeah, and knowing that what you're I don't wanna say that you should do what you love, but if you do, then you're just going to be that passion is going to fuel you and drive you and, create the success that you want.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us about C and V. And I know that the name is from your daughters, right? But tell us more about your company and the name.
Yeah, my company is called C&V Creative. Um, it is named for my daughters. I didn't name my business,
Mm.
a friend did, but knowing that my business is named for my daughters gives me that extra drive to continue living my why, living my values, and empowering and encouraging people to use their voice. And like I said at the beginning, I want my daughters to understand that they have natural given talents,
Mm.
and I want them to shine. So that is the ultimate mission of what I do, helping business owners really amplify their message and their mission and have incredible impact and make some money while they're doing that.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I absolutely love working with you the way we've been working together
Me too.
in this service you call creative director on demand. And I know you've been doing graphic design as long as I've known you. So I know you've had a lot of different packages and different ways of working with people. Is creative director on demand your favorite, or what's your favorite way to work with people?
Um, it is my favorite, and I hesitated to say that because I am a brand designer first and
Mm,
foremost. I think that's what makes my retainer relationship, which is what creative director on demand is, unique, because I believe that branding is an evolution, a continuous process that should span the life of your business,
mm,
and that is So they are my two signature services. My favorites are rebranding and my longstanding retainer um, relationships, but they're very connected. I can't work with a retainer client if they don't have a very established visual brand or even written brand. I need the voice too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good and so important. And, I think design can be undervalued in like a monthly recurring way. Like everyone knows they need to invest in a website. Everyone knows they need to invest in a logo or a brand. But most entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, they're DIYing everything in Canva. The Illiah is holding up a sign. Hold it up again. Design adds value faster than it adds costs. Ooh, that's so good.
And the creator of Trello said that,
Mhm.
Joel Spolsky. So yeah, I it's become like a
Yeah.
motto for me.
Oh my gosh. Well, and it really is so important, and I'm going to sound a little judgy here, but you guys know I am so incredibly welcoming and friendly to your journey and wherever it begins and wherever it is. But the more that I elevate, and I'm working with 6 and 7 and 8 figure companies, the more I see how important brand aesthetics are. And some of the PR work that I've been doing, like people are pitching me or these companies, and I'm like, I can't say yes to this person because they have no brand, they have no professional photos. I can't. They may be an expert in their field, but I cannot say yes because I can't put their brand next to our brand. I just can't, right? Like it's kind of like it sounds horrible, and I'm not saying it has
Yeah.
anything to do with their value or what they know as a human being, but what we put out there truly matters in um how we present ourselves, right? It's like the clothes that we wear to an important event. Like good design is like
Yes.
putting on your best possible outfit that represents
Yes.
you while you're on stage.
I mean, that's why I get dressed for work every day, even though I'm sitting at my home office day after day. I still am going to wear a dress or something business casual just to get my mindset
Yeah.
switched on
I
to
have
work.
noticed that. You're
And
always
some days it
dressed for,
works better.
especially for our client facing meetings, you're always dressed. Oh my gosh.
Always. I mean, I tend to overdress anyway, just because I feel good about that, and I
Yeah.
don't want to apologize for it anymore. But I believe that fashion and design are so related, and I use that
Yeah.
analogy a lot.
I'm guilty of, wearing my sweatpants and a cute top and then like okay, okay.
Me too.
I was like, is that
Me
acceptable?
too. No judging. We can look good on top and,
Okay,
be
good. That makes
comfortable
me
on the
feel better
bottom.
that you're doing that too, because you do always look so put together for our meetings. That's so funny.
Oh, you're so nice. Thank
Oh
you.
my goodness. Okay, and I know we talked a little bit before the podcast about this creative director on a man and how um you've been working on formulating some of your unpopular opinions. So, do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yes. So unpopular opinions.
Me
I'm
too.
such a people pleaser. They're so hard to come by because I live in a bubble. I think other people do too, which is why I'm talking about this. That what we are good at is just seems so obvious to us, but it's not. It's not. So these unpopular opinions are just seem repetitive. Okay. Anyway, um, I know that that this next wave of trend in services is this done in a day, and I really respect it. I really like it. I think that it has a lot of potential to help service providers scale their businesses. But when it comes to branding, I don't understand the
Mm,
one and done model because branding is not finished once you receive your voice guide or your brand guide, your perfect logo. It's a continuous evolution that spans the life of your business. Um, because as you gain more experience, being a business owner, You learn who you want to work with. You make lots of mistakes that shape and form your offerings, and your visuals should grow
Yeah, it's like
along
a
with that.
house, right? Like a house is never
Yeah,
finished. You're always working on something. A website is never finished. You're always working on something, right? And I feel like design is the
always.
same way. Like there's always something that can be touched. Or since you're my creative director on demand, I'm like, I always want Illia's eyes on this before it goes out, right? Like even if I can do a good job, I want everything to be great, right?
You know, it's funny. At least three of my current retainer clients, if you included, are
Mm,
all great at design. All of them. But you're even better at your marketing and coaching and all the things you do. Um, and that is a common thread. But it doesn't mean that you want to
yeah.
spend your time doing it.
Yeah. I like to jump
Right?
in and be creative when the mood strikes, but I definitely don't want to be in Canva designing my Instagram graphics and doing all these things. And that's why slides, oh my gosh, like let me just put my information in the slides. I don't want to
Mhm.
make them pretty, right? But I feel like it's
Yeah.
important that they are pretty and that they look good. And even though I know I can do it, I don't want to. And it's not my zone of genius, right? Like it's not my top. Like graphic design is something that I have a skill at, but it's definitely not even my top 3. So we, being experts at what we do, we
Mhm.
always want to be in like that top 1 or 2, 3 things, you know? Yeah.
Yes.
And a lot of people would
Yeah.
argue that there's not a direct ROI on design. How do you like combat that? And I love the quote that you just held up because that's exactly right.
Yeah. Um, when I hear this, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit, but it's true. It's hard to assign a direct dollar to it, and I think that, um, it's easier to
Mm,
provide a before and after. What opportunities were you providing before your design, your visual brand got elevated? And what opportunities are present now for that? I did one brand, for a friend.
mhm.
I love working with my friends. And we become friends through it sometimes through the process too. But she is a she's an artisan, a jewelry maker, and she started her business doing uh, hair clips and earrings and for weddings. Um, and then she hired me to do her brand design. And then after that, she was like, my mindset shifted. So then I am now feeling comfortable calling
Mm,
myself a fine jeweler. So she went from
or a
I'm
maker.
a crafter. I started my business as a crafter. No offense to crafting, but now I'm taking classes and creating the work that I dreamed of, and getting my jewelry for
Yeah.
sale in art museums, and you know, so seeing that transformation, I love it. But also, I think that if you pay attention to the journey, you can see like a milestone is when you have the brand
It's
that makes everything
opportunity.
click
I
together.
absolutely love that. Like that's kind of how you measure the ROI because if you want to get on bigger stages, right? Like that thing I mentioned earlier about that person I had to say no to because her brand was so poor, she's holding herself back from opportunity because of the aesthetic of her company.
Yeah, and one thing about that is I do believe that you have to start somewhere, and to start somewhere
Yes.
messy is really important. Um, but again, I keep coming back to this. Keep refreshing
Yeah.
regularly throughout. It'll really help you avoid a costly rebrand, because if when you're paying attention, you're focusing on it, not only are you looking at the aesthetics, you're making sure the aesthetics match your mission
Mm,
and your values. And so that they are very connected, and as
mhm.
one evolves, the other does. So
I know. Isn't that funny? I go on the same kick, like telling people they don't need to hire an agency. And I'm like, but I kind of am an agency. Like, you don't need an expensive agency, but you do need me for just a second.
let me help you, but
Oh my gosh.
just
But
for a little bit.
I firmly believe in like bringing in the expert and using the expert to create repeatable systems and processes, right? So while yes,
Mhm.
I'm an expensive agency and you can use our services recurring, what I really encourage people to do is just let us help you build some of these repeatable processes out. But I think of creative director on demand like kind of as that same thing. Like you don't need to pay so much money like as you would need for a website. You just need that strategic, creative person to like oversee the brand aesthetics, right? And that's how I love to use and
Yes.
abuse you is like everything's at 80%. We just need Illiah's eyes on it to make sure that like it's as best as it can be.
Yeah. I love working with you too. It's a completely mutual beneficial relationship. And what I love about that is that I'm actually able, this service is a combination of creative direction and also um, graphic design, because I'm one person at the moment. Um, so I love that working with you,
Mm.
I get to stretch the creative direction more because a lot of times I'm in the graphic design part, and the difference is it gets fuzzy, right? Because there's a lot of design in creative direction, but then it also includes messaging, it also includes strategic movements and decisions, and I really appreciate that you focus
Yeah,
on
and I
that a
think
lot
the
more.
difference is if we were to kind of talk about like, okay, what makes one kind of project or job be just graphic design and what makes one project or job creative direction, and you can tell me if this is kind of how you look at
Hmm.
it too, but I think of if I was just going to have you do graphic design, then I would know what I want and how I want it to look, and I would kind of just be telling you what I want that outcome to be, right? Whereas with creative direction, it's more I'm enrolling you in the mission or the vision, but I'm fully allowing and trusting you as the expert to have that final say in whether that graphic element is up to standard. Like I've allowed you to set the tone of what everything looks like and how it's presented to the world versus me, right? Like and just having you implement it. Like graphic design is the implementation, but creative direction is like the
Yes.
best part.
It really is. It gives me the freedom to. I have a vision for your business, right? It's warm and inviting. Um, it doesn't. It has like a kind of an
Mm,
anti-perfectionist vibe to it. It has
yeah.
to be approachable at all times, and sometimes that means that we get to play and have fun and introduce new colors and fonts, which I don't recommend
I know.
usually.
I am kind of like the I don't know, the black sheep or whatever you say when it comes to that. We've gotten good. I think we've narrowed it down to 3 or 4 that we're using though. But for a while I was interchanging, fonts quite a bit, but it's kind of that going against the grain of like you can still have brand awareness and not follow every single rule. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I like to
Yeah.
break the rules once they're established, but you have to establish them first and get a good amount of brand recognition before
Yeah, and
that I
it's
recommend that.
so fun and it's so important, and even when I was doing photography, I was doing it without realizing I was doing it, just in my photographic style where people would say, "Oh my gosh, I knew that was your picture," before I even saw the logo or anything, right? Like, I nailed my
Yeah,
aesthetics and my photographed in such a brand awareness way, then I had to, like, catch up with my branding, like, "Oh my god," like, my website now doesn't quite match the vibe of the pictures, so that just goes to say, like you said, it is always progressing, right? We can't just like forget
yes.
about it and shove it in the closet because our brand and our visuals are always going to be growing with us.
That's the dream.
Don't
Yes.
you have one client that's been with you for like a decade or something?
Yes, I do. Stephen was referred to me back
Mm.
in 2012. when our businesses were babies, and we've grown up together, and it's been the most rewarding journey. He
Yeah.
finally asked me for a rebrand, um, 2 years ago, and we've had the most fun, applying it across the board because he's grandfathered in, and he could just
Yeah, well, and I was just gonna kinda ask, like, what's that like to work with someone for so long as we're kind of talking about how important it is to keep creative direction and graphic design in your company, like, how do you feel like that has really helped the growth of his business?
he's the first one that has trusted me to be a creative director for him, and I didn't realize it up along the way. It's like kind of like we blinked and suddenly we're here 11 years later. I don't know what happened. For him, having a creative director, um, for a decade means that his brand has been evolving throughout
Yeah.
the whole time, really. Um, he did need a refreshed logo and a brand new look, because his first one was
Mm,
didn't represent him anymore. It didn't represent his taste or, the high level of service that he, is providing now. Um, and he's evolved and changed in a big way. So
yeah.
it was just time. But we've been tweaking and throughout that whole
Yeah.
decade
So
we've
speaking
been
of
working
that, how
together.
would someone see signs if it might be time for them to rebrand? You've probably put a ton of content about this out there, but just for everyone listening, if they're like, "Ooh, do I need to rebrand?" What are some things they can look for?
Oh, yeah. Look for anytime
Mm,
something drastic changes. If and that can be your values have drastically changed, your clients have drastically changed,
mm,
or your offerings. If you're offering coaching one day and then courses the next, ask, are they related in any way? Are they reaching the same people? So I think asking yourself those questions and being aware of
that just got me even more excited about the podcast rebrand because I'm like, gosh, I've elevated so much in the
yeah,
last 4 years and I haven't rebranded the podcast or rebranded the messaging around the podcast. So that light bulb just went off because I was like, oh,
yeah.
yeah, like the messaging is about to change big time. So it makes sense that the visuals would change. Um,
Yeah, I mean, we can talk
yeah.
about that here too if you want. I don't see I mean, you said that
Yeah.
you're ready for a big change for your podcast, but I don't see a big change
Yeah.
as
I don't think it necessarily needs
necessary.
to be a big change.
No, I like the M with the messy leaves, and I want a cleaner font, and
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
it. We
Just a
just
little
need a
cleanup
cleanup.
and new cover art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we did talk about the
Yeah.
cover art.
I'm
That will
like,
be
there's a
brand new.
little part of me that's like, oh my God, that's like my signature podcast, image. But like my hair's not the same. Nothing's the same. Like, you know what I mean? So I do think when it comes to branding photography too, we do want to stay relevant. Like it's okay if our hair changed or we looked a little different, but we still want the world to see that we are continuing to put that time and attention into our company and what's outward facing. Yeah, and what's
The
outward facing and
intention.
the intention. Absolutely. Um but yeah, I'm really excited about that. And then we're working on like PDF for podcast guests, which I'm really excited about, just creating something that feels like something nobody else is really doing. That always kind of excites me. Like if you can't find it, create it kind of mentality. Yeah.
Same. I love that. It makes it a little bit harder because, there's a prescribed when something's been done
Yeah.
before, there's a prescribed order to it, so it might take a little bit of more time to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
develop.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
And my next question was going to be what about people with like a signature course or membership? So, I have the Community Growth Lab course, and I know you've helped me with some of the elements, but should someone, or me in this circumstance, consider like a mini logo or a sub brand logo for that signature course or thing? Kind of like we have a logo for the podcast, right? But should people do that for their signature programs as well?
Mhm. I do like to have a visual element of some kind to identify because the world is we're moving so fast in the world that people
Mm.
don't like to read, but they will see an icon and attach that to
Yeah.
your brand in some way. So the answer is
Yeah,
absolutely.
especially
Yeah,
if it's
let's do
something
that.
that's again outward facing and you're using it to build that brand awareness. I think about James Wedmore and Business by Design. Like it has a very distinct logo for his signature program, and then separately for the podcast. And they use the same fonts, but they're definitely like it's like a stamp, right? Like it looks the same no matter what. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I do. When I design submarks, I love for them to relate back to the umbrella
Yeah.
brand in some way. Like if you have a little element of a lightning bolt in your primary business logo, then let's add one to your sub brand too. Whatever your offering is,
Yeah. Well,
it
and
doesn't
now
matter.
that we know that, my brand is talking a little bit more to fine artists and creatives and makers, we can incorporate that knowing with our avatar too. Even though I don't think I ever really changed it away. So it probably has always kind of been geared towards creatives in some way, shape, or form. But
I think yeah, yeah. I mean, we worked together a while ago, and you were
yeah.
working on something just for creatives. I don't
Yeah. You
remember the
helped
exact
me
name,
with
but
my
yes.
Find Your Five welcome guide for my mastermind. You designed all the podcast
Mhm.
elements. Um, You might have done a little bit of a refresh on my Elizabeth Henson logo. That one has not changed, but
It's
it's been
been the
the
same
same for a
for
really
a
long
long
time.
time.
And I don't really foresee that one changing until unless
Mm.
yeah. We'll see what happens with the agency. But my goal, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, so it's not like I'm unveiling some crazy secret, but my goal is eventually to have a company that is worth something and sellable or passable down to my children. So it is not no secret that I may not be Elizabeth Henson Co. forever. We might come up with a bigger name, right? Like a name bigger than me. Um, but I'm not there yet. It's, like, not something that I feel like really needs a ton of my attention at this moment. Uh, but yeah.
Mhm. And you've used it for so long, so while
Yeah.
you have that capital in your name,
Yeah, yeah, and we
yeah,
can
keep
adjust
it.
the leaves, we could make some little changes, but, yeah, that one hasn't really changed.
Yeah. We could put the messy leaves
Yeah.
in your current logo.
Okay, we can play
I
with
kind
that.
of love that idea.
I'm like, "N while
Okay.
we're talking about all these refreshes, like, what else do we need to do?" Oh my gosh.
Let's refresh on
We're
air.
just gonna start working on it, co-working on the podcast, that's fine. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So what
We're
else is one of your favorite things to share with people that might be considering hiring a designer? Like I want us to kind of think about maybe the person starting out that has this limited belief that it's too expensive or it's not important.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love talking about, um, when you're first starting your new business, the first thing automatically without fail is,
Mm,
"Oh my gosh, what's the name?" And second, "Oh my gosh, I need a logo." We wanna label and, we wanna label our everything so
yeah.
quickly. It's human nature, right? And it's a good thing, you need an identity. But let's do it quickly and make a quick 10-second decision on whether you love it. Choose 3 colors, 2 fonts, and stick to the system until you're ready to hire a designer to elevate your brand, and then start
Yeah.
networking and getting those sales. When you're a new business, the focus is on getting sales and not
Well, and I
your
love
brand
that you
identity.
are open about that because I feel like it would be easy for a designer to just say, "Oh no, you need all these pieces and all these parts before you get started." But you're actually advocating for the business owner and don't let this be something that holds you back from getting sales. Like, let's get out there.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I am not gonna tell you I'm not going to work with a new business owner, I have a package called Irresistible Brand just for that. And literally, I type out the name, I assign 3 colors and choose 2 fonts and call it a
Yeah.
day and say, "Here, start." Right? Because sometimes when you design your own
Yeah.
brand, it's just too hard. And no matter how good you are at Canva, you're designing for yourself, so there's no limitations, and that
Yeah,
makes
that's
it so
so
hard.
true, and that's one of the reasons
Yeah.
that I feel like I have to have you on board because I'll drive myself crazy doing my own design where I can jump into somebody else's business and do their Canva graphics in like 10 seconds because I don't have that emotional attachment. I know what fonts I'm using, I know what color I'm using, and boom, like done.
Yes. Yes. And 50% of my job is editing and limiting limiting the options
Yes,
available
yes,
to
and it
my
does help.
clients.
Like you would think it's the opposite, but I find so much more creative freedom when I have a little bit of like parameters. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, think about, the projects we had in school as design students, how the
Yep.
parameters were so strict and how creative we were able to be during that. And then when you got out into the world and you had to brand
Yeah.
yourself, you're like, "Oh
What
my
do I
god."
do? Yeah, I call it blank canvas syndrome. Like when I was
What
an
do
art
you do?
teacher, if I
Yes.
just gave the kids a blank piece of paper and said, draw anything you want, I would have an entire class of rainbows and landscapes, right? Because they're not thinking.
Mhm.
But if I said, okay, I need you to go off the edges on all four sides and use three colors and only this tool and draw your favorite memory. Now everybody's looks completely different. Yeah. So
That's so
that's like a
cool.
whole thing, and I
I
use
hope to
it
take that project.
when I'm talking to other business owners all the time of like, as the CEO, we just don't want to start with a blank canvas or anybody, right? I don't half the time I don't even want you to start with a blank canvas. I'm like, here's the words, go, you at least have the words and you know what size and blah blah. But
That is why I
yeah,
work with a
yeah.
brand strategist, because I need them to give me the words. I know strategy, I've studied it for a long time, but I need someone else to give me those words and give me the inspiration, and the brand designs are so much richer for it.
Yes, your brain doesn't need to be thinking about both things. Like imagine how powerful of a team a company can build if your designer is just working on design and your brand voice copywriter is just focusing on the copy and the visionary gets to be just a visionary, right?
Yes.
Like we don't want everybody walking around with like these blank pieces of paper and no rules because it's paralysis of analysis all day long.
Yes. Uh,
Yeah.
Heart fingers all the way on that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's when once I really leaned into having a team, I was like, I could never go back because I'm realizing how much more I'm enjoying what I'm doing, being able to be in the parts that I love, and how much better someone else can do something if that's all they're focused on.
Well, that's how we started. You were like, "I don't know if I need a designer or a creative director," and I was like, "You probably don't, but I really wanna work with you anyway."
But I did. Oh my gosh. Like it's been one of my favorite investments. And even when I'm in like my mastermind groups and I'm trying to evaluate, what I'm spending my money on, I'm like, nobody tell me that I don't need a creative director. I don't want to hear it because she's a non-negotiable.
I love to be that non-negotiable at every team.
Yes. Well, and I know you and I have gone back and forth like about how do we really talk about the ROI of this? And
Yeah.
what you said about it provides opportunity is huge because opportunity provides dollar amounts, right?
Yes.
And we need to have those opportunities. And
And
it really, really is
visibility.
important.
Yes, and visibility too. Think about your visibility before and what it is now.
Yep.
And it is a process. I won't say that it happens overnight, even in a few months.
Hmm.
But after 6 months of consistent creative direction and design and having a dedicated person to that, you should see some change.
Yeah.
And it frees and if not for anything else, it frees you up to go and do what you do. So then you're not spending time on thinking, is this the right correct font?
Yeah.
You're spending time thinking, I want to network or move the needle forward in some other way.
Yes, absolutely. And our time is essentially money. Like, every time
Mhm.
I want to work with someone, I'm like, I'm either gonna, make you money or save you money. Like that's it. That's the two focuses.
Yes.
Because either way, it's money back in your pocket.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
Okay. Anything else you want to add? What's your next big thing that you're working on?
My next big thing, um, I myself am in need of a new website.
Yeah. And did you do some brand refresh for yourself?
I'm always
Yeah.
I'm always refreshing. And intentionally, not just half, you know.
Well, it's always stayed consistent. So I love that that you said you're always refreshing, because I can look at your brand over the last 5 or 6 years that I've known you, and to me, it's always had brand recognition.
Yeah, so recently I redid my go-to fonts. Um, and it was a really important thing because my name, Illiah, has an I and two L's, so it looks like three lowercase L's all together, and no one knows what my name is or how to pronounce it. When it's in a sans serif font without the lines. So it was really important to me because I believe identity is so important. It's one of my primary core values. So I want people to know what my name is, and I
Yeah.
chose fonts that are easily read. The L's have a little curl on the bottom, and those that curl makes such a difference. That curl is not the technical name of the anatomy of the font, but it works.
And I think I mean, this could have been forever ago. My mind just remembers it, but I feel
Mhm.
like you shared some of the behind the scenes, and I love, love, love
Oh,
that
yeah.
you share that stuff on social media constantly. And we will be sharing it with the podcast journey as well, of like the before and after, and um why, like a lot of times Ilya shares why she made certain changes. And I just think that's one of the most fun things about following you on Instagram.
Oh, well, thank you. I will do more of that.
I need to do more of a lot of things on Instagram,
Mhm.
but we'll save that for another day.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I know you have some spaces open for creative director on demand. Is there anything else you want to share about, or anything else coming up for you soon?
I think all of the things are coming up soon. I'm attending the conference in September.
Yeah.
The name of it is escaping me.
It was in Texas, right?
Yeah, it's in Texas. It's with Jordan Gill of Systems
Mm.
Save Me, and I can't remember the name of it, but I'm super excited to go to that. Um, and my
Are
new
you staying by yourself so you can introvert?
No, no, I am rooming with a former client,
Oh, okay.
and I'm super excited about it.
I
um,
just love that you'll be like, okay, I need to go introvert for a while.
I do, but I will introvert before and after I get home. So yeah, I know that I need at least a day or two before and after, but when
Mm,
I'm there, I'm gonna be all there.
yeah.
Make Your Mark Live is the event. I'm
There
going
you
to
go.
that in September.
Oh my gosh, so fun. That's
Yeah,
something to look forward to.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're the best. And I absolutely love having you on my team, and the way that we've been collaborating and co working and helping clients together. Like, I know it's just the beginning, and that you hold space for me to like vox you with all my big ideas. It's just been like even better than I could have imagined.
It's my favorite part of what I do is having um, that constant access to visionary, industry leaders like yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, we'll have you back on again soon, but you guys follow along for all of our behind the scenes messy success upgrades that we're doing with the brand. Yay. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun.
All right. And just a reminder that this is episode 113. So you guys can find all of Illiah's information and how to work with her as your creative director on demand at elizabethhenson.co/E113. Her website is candvcreative.com. That is the letter C, ANDV creative.com. And she is on Instagram at c.and.v. But you can head over to the show notes to get all of that at elizabethhenson.co/E113 and find out all about Illiah and how wonderful her services are. And I'm just so excited that we got to have her today. And don't forget that you can always join us inside the Community Builder on Facebook. Just go to Facebook and search the Community Builder inside the Facebook groups, and you will find us quickly. And if you love this episode, share it with a friend, leave us a review. We have a goal of getting 5,000 downloads in Q2. So anything that you can do to help spread the word would be amazing. We appreciate you guys so much, and we'll see you soon.